who made a request that he was willing to cooperate and become a witness. However, we know that in criminal investigation, cooperating suspects are always dangerous. When he was brought in based on the request of the family member who assisted in this process, we were going to give him a chance to speak with him and to test the legitimacy of his willingness to assist in the investigation. In the process, it was proven that indeed he could not be trusted. He was already charged even before, and he was charged in absentia, so even before being arrested, as such, he was brought over at central headquarters and subsequently turned over to the court. At no point in time did we ever intend to make a deal with him or to even promise him what he's claiming. The claims that you're hearing and counterclaims, I don't even know which one to believe. 50,000, 200,000, 2,000, whichever one it is. Though I can tell you they made requests that we could not honor. And at no point in time did we enter any agreement with Mr. Yanti to lie or to force him or coerce him in any way, shape, or form to speak falsely against any of the defendants. The LMP will remain resolute. This matter is, like I said, is before the court. We are still looking at for other suspects. Now that we have a full indictment, the diffusion, the Interpol diffusion that we have for the suspects that are alleged, I've instructed the Deputy Inspector General for Crime Services, Intelligence, and Interpol to upgrade that diffusion notice in the Interpol system to a red notice. So over the next few days, that notice will be published. As soon as we get a feedback from NCB Monrovia receives the feedback from Interpol, it will be published out there and be shared with our counterparts around the world to have those criminal suspects repatriated to Liberia for prosecution. Mr. Yanti returned and followed lawful procedures. He was accorded the due privileges. The Ghanaian police cooperated with us. The relative of his who engaged and asked us to give him a chance because he wanted to intervene. We have spoken to them. We have their sworn statement and everything. When Mr. Yanti came in, he willingly, in the presence of his lawyer, made sworn statement that we have on record that was videotaped and also written in his own, by his own hand. The video is clear. When it is right, when that time reaches at court, it will be presented for whatever evidence purpose, but at no point in time was he ever forced to do anything of such. At this point, I would like to stop here and we entertain a few questions. And move forward.
Thank you,
Maximum 5 questions.
Thank you, sir.
I don't understand.
This time in the queue. 5 questions.
1 question.
This time in the queue. 5 questions. Please introduce yourself. One follow. Be very fair.
Well, good morning. My name is William Woodruff.
So what's the name of who you work for?
William Woodruff, mostly in town, around Nigeria newspaper. Honorable IG, I listened to you and the Nigerian people also following. The last time you called 7 lawmakers, they want to know whether you called them for arrest, detention, or what exactly you called them for. Thank you.
Next question. 5 questions.
Well, 7 lawmakers were called to conclude the investigation on the day that they were called. They had the last interview, and it's at that interview that the conclusion was made as to who were to be charged and who would have been released. Out of the 7, 5 were charged, and 2 of them were released. Thank you.
My name is Mopolu, and I run a multimedia hub, and my question goes to you, IG. Your men were seen on live video, dragging the CDC chairperson, something that many Liberians expressed disappointment, including the Council of Churches.
Are you proud of the man or you want to apologize? Thank you.
Well, I watched the video. I did not see my man drag the CDC chairperson. At no point in time did they drag him. More so, I raised concerns about that particular action and said it was under a review for the use of force. The Professional Standards Division was instructed, and that review is ongoing. It is my hope that the chairperson will cooperate with the investigation and come forward if he has any claims or counterclaims in that regard. Thank you. And indeed, yes, I am proud of my man. They showed remarkable discipline and professionalism. Thank you.
So, my name is Joseph Sedif, and I report for ABC Radio. Police IG, I just want to know if you were to give us a picture of, because the government initiated a no-go zone, if you were to give us a picture of, motorcyclists that are taken off the street, can you give us a picture of the crime rate in our country? Because the intent was to minimize violence and also minimize the criminal activities across our streets. So if you were to give us a picture, what's the current picture of the crime rate in our country? Thank you.
So thank you. I think that's an excellent question. We have sometimes, you know, when you take some of these decisions, you're looking at one direction, but then it has a multiplier effect. And that has been the case with the motorcyclists flying the Main Street. We were more concerned about their safety, and that was the basis upon which this decision was taken. But beyond the safety, it did speak to the issue of crime reduction as well, which around this time, we did a comparison of the last 5 years statistics of our crime rate. And when you look at this time around the year, as soon as the rain begins, there's always a surge. More so, we had a release of some high-profile criminals after serving over 2 terms of court from the central prison. So it was our anticipation that by this time, we would have had 2 times the spike that we normally see around this time of the year. Knock on wood, I mean, the crime rate has remained relatively low. We've had instances of armed robbery, one on Dupont Road, and another one reported in the Barnesville area, major armed robberies. So we're tracking these different groups. We're using proactive measures. We deployed more intelligence to be able to counter them in the day before they can strike at night. So we're reassuring the public that there are measures in place to ensure that we keep the crime rate down. But on the overall, these are just more of opportunistic crimes driven by substance abuse and what have you. That is why we advise people to take proactive measures and not to expose themselves to dangerous areas. Like usually, if you leave something visible in the vehicle, is an attraction even for the owners, not even for just criminals. So we ask people to safeguard themselves while we work tirelessly to ensure that we prevent crimes from happening. Thank you.
So my name is Ines Ruiz Soko. I listened to you, Mr. IG. And I just want to say this. This ASON case is followed by not just the citizenry. The international partners are also watching. And I think every result from this ASON case will enable the security sector to regain public trust. And I hope Yanti understands labor. I quietly listened to you when you spoke about in no way has anyone contacted Yanti with the clarification made. Are you concerned about contacting those listed by Yanti in making further questioning to those individuals concerning what the striking revelation he has given? Because there are a lot of things embedded within what is ongoing. And I hope Yanti understands that. And with you just making clarification on in no way has anyone contacted him with the revelation he has made, are there further actions by your institution to contact those that he has listed in order to have your work easily done?
Okay, so what Mr. Yanti may not know, where he was taken, regardless of whatever that location was considered a safe house. And there are protocols that cover a safe house, especially when you have people under such protection. everyone who spoke to him were under video surveillance. So, I mean, if Mr. Yanti can come out and bring, like you say, he has recordings and back and forth, if he can bring recording or any documentation indicating that these things were made, we'll consider them. But from our end, we know that everyone that spoke to him, some of the names he spoke to him, yes, they are part of the investigation, and they have all rights to be there to talk to him about the investigation, and not to coerce him in any way to like, look, this case has been on the basis of good evidence and good evidence only. At no point in time will we try to compromise our integrity or the integrity of the investigation or the state itself to try to falsify evidence. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever to put any extra twist in this case. This is a strong and solid case. I believe, like I said, from day one, the men were very professional in their dealing. We follow international protocols. We compare notes with international investigators. We compare with other actors to make sure that we have crossed our T's and dotted our I's. We are not worried about gathering anything extra. We have sufficient at this point in time. Look, the thing here, what you all don't understand is that all of you here, your platforms are being used as a means of adjudicating this matter in the public. Those who are concerned to go to the court, that's where it should be adjudicated. Let them take the evidence to the court. No evidence is not evidence. When you say, oh, you push on no evidence, it doesn't mean you have the evidence. So go to the court. We appreciate what you all do. I mean, it's a part of the democracy. But you all should be very careful understanding the fact that these people are just trying to use your platform to sway the jurors, to sway potential jurors, to put in the minds of the public that this thing is not real. What is evident is the fact that that building lies in ruins. What is evident is the fact that all of you have videos in your phone with the flame and the thick black smoke. What you do have evidence of is that there was an assault on the democracy. And nobody has ever answered for it in this country. Look, the culture of impunity was stopped in this country. And if we cannot stop that culture of impunity, you cannot stop corruption, you cannot stop anything here. Under this administration, as we have served as a team, we're going to go after anyone who breaks the law, regardless of your social status, your class, your position, whatever. If you break the law, you're going to demand bail coming for you. Thank you.
Last question.
So thank you, Mr. Aji.
Last question.
So we have gathered that Mr. Yanti was brought offered and was kept at a hotel. Instead of the broadcasters of the orientation was kept. Can you tell us why, or can you teach us about the situation as to whether we kept at a hotel or was being kept at the headquarters of the National Police? Where was he kept?
Okay, so Mr. Yanti, like I said, was kept on the same house protocols. Where, which area, that I'm not going to review yet, but yes, he was not at the Liberia National Police headquarters. He was kept in a safe house on a safe house protocol. At this point in time, I'll take no further questions. I want to thank you all for all of the support. And please remember, this is about Liberia, Lord Liberia, Think Liberia, and let's build Liberia together. Thank you.
So can we have some quiet to the press conference? Kamala, everybody move in the corridor. So you heard it from the Inspector General himself. It was as clear as crystal. The government will say nothing further. We'll go to the court. Let me just now make the following remarks before we invite our guests. So the order is that when I concluded the NSC board to speak, then we'll take the Deputy Managing Director for Administration from the National Port Authority, the the Ministry of Transport will make the announcement, and then we take the LACRA bus, and then we entertain questions. The Ministry of Education and the Labrador National Police have announced the immediate enforcement of the ban on all street parades during school celebration of birthdays, graduation, and WASP festivity across Liberia. The measure aims to prevent injuries, public disturbance, and violence instead of the open streets. The police will monitor and enforce these rules without subject to legal penalties. The authorities emphasize that the goal of this restriction is to ensure safe, respectful celebration and call for cooperation with schools, officials, and parents in maintaining public order. His Excellency, the President has established a high-level presidential United States which could potentially lead to the imposition of travel ban on Liberia. We heard the announcement and some of you were concerned about what is the U.S. concerned about? So yeah, I'm concerned. The first thing here is that they have raised concern about fake documentation. Some of our citizens applying for visa at the U.S. Embassy can carry fake birth certificate, you carry fake documents from the court. They also complain about overstay. Overstay in the context would mean that if you went to the U.S. and say, I'm going for a program, 1 week, and you arrive in America, the immigration for 6 months or 3 months in your boat. The period that you are expected to stay in America is a 1 week visa you apply for. So people go there, they overstay. Since you're concerned for our US friends. They also raise concern about the lack of traveler information. There's no portal where the embassy and the government library can share information about who going to apply for visa, who going to America. They also raise concern about lack of swift action on the part of government. And it's not just the government, successive government. The lack of swift action on the part of successive government to take action in terms of prosecuting individuals who are found to be liable for fraud. So for example, you apply for visa, you carry documentation to the embassy, and the embassy discover that the documents you carry there are fictitious. And they complain to the authorities, they say, no swift action has been taken. So these are the concerns that the Americans have raised to the Liberian government. And so the president swiftly moved to set up the task force. The president will chair the task force, which includes key government ministries and agencies, such as the Foreign Ministry, Justice, Health, National Security, and the Liberian National Police. The task force held its first meeting on June 17 and has developed a joint work plan to respond swiftly and effectively to the concerns. Implementation will involve close collaboration with the United States government with ongoing monitoring to ensure accountability. Excellent. President has arrived in Abuja. Protect the West African Economic Summit. It will take place from the 20th to the 21st of June in Abuja, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. West African Economic Summit brings together heads of states, senior government officials, private sector leaders, and development partners from across the region to explore strategies for accelerating trade, investment, and regional integration. The summit is a key platform for shaping policy and partnership that promotes sustainable economic growth, job creation, and industrial development across the sub-region. President Boubacar is scheduled to address the summit, where he will articulate Liberia's vision for economic transformation and present investment opportunities in critical sectors such as agriculture, energy, infrastructure, tourism, and innovation. He will also hold a series of bilateral and multilateral meetings and secure meaningful economic partnership. The West African Economic Summit is being convened in economic cooperation, peace and security, and sustainable development. The President is accompanied by Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Wilcom Pay, Minister of Mines and Energy, Honorable Jeremy Matthew Pia, Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Honorable Jeff Ligo, Chairman, National Investment Commission, Honorable Samuel A. Stikwa, Minister of State Art Portfolio for Special Services, Honorable Samuel Kofi Wusu, Second National Security Advisor, Honorable Molly Kamara, Senior Economic Advisor to the President, Honorable Sekou Dugli, Managing Director of National Port Authority, Honorable Amos Sweat, Managing Director of Liberia Petroleum Refining Company, Honorable Christopher Ace Onanuga, Special Envoy for Tourism, and Honorable Mohammed Ba, Special Envoy for Trade and Investment. The President is also traveling with his team on communication, security, and protocol. While the President is away, the Minister of Justice, Councillor Oxford Twig, will chair the Cabinet in consultation with the President via telephone. As you can see, we have a jam-packed platform today, so without much, I will now invite the LCC boss to make a presentation, and she will be followed by the National Port Authority.
I will say that you're here, princess. People will be back home.
Thank you, Mr. Sano. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press, distinguished partners, fellow citizens. Thank you. I bring you greetings from the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. This exercise is intended to present key activities and achievements of the to continue to update the public on our activities, to demonstrate our commitment to transparency, accountability, and also to ensure that the public's right to know the strides that
Please get a bit of height.
Thank you. So as I was saying, this update, it demonstrates government's commitment to transparency, accountability, as well as to ensure that the public's right to know the strides that we are making in the fight against corruption. So as we all know, or as I have always told the public on this platform, LACC is charged with the mandate to investigate acts of corruption, prosecute acts of corruption, as well as to educate the public about the ills of corruption and the benefits that come with eradicating or mitigating corruption in Liberia. And so today's presentation is mainly going to be focused on our investigative efforts as well as our prosecution efforts. And then I will just bring the public to speak on other activities we are undertaking as a commission. So over the period, I said the period, this presentation covers January to June 15, 2025. Over the period, LACC, the Monitoring Investigation Department, has recorded significant progress through the completion of 4 high-profile cases involving, number 1, the Liberia Telecommunication Authority. The second one is former officials of the National Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Commission, which is the WASH Commission. The third one is the investigation involving suspended officials of the Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, the LRRC, and the current official of the National Road Fund Authority, as well as former officials of the National Oil Company of Liberia. Basically what I'm trying to say is that we have completed investigation into the working closely with the Ministry of Justice to draw up indictment and have the persons of interest to be brought under the jurisdiction of the court for prosecution. I want to say that this investigation underscores the government unwavering commitment to upholding public officials accountable, as well as restoring public trust in governance. In addition to these cases that we have concluded for the period January to June, we also engaged in high-profile investigation into cases involving the National Fishery and Aquaculture Authority, which is the NAFA. I know we've been following. The investigation is ongoing and we are making strides, hoping that we can be able to complete the investigation in the coming month of July. We are working on investigation involving the current head of the WASH Commission. We are working on cases involving the Central Bank of Liberia, the Ministry of State, the Executive Protection Services, the MCSS, the LFA, just to name a few. We have been giving full details in our regular quarterly reports that we normally publish on our website. And I want to encourage us just to dispel some of the rumors or to express yourself with what we are doing when it comes to investigation and prosecution or the activities of the LACC, to go to our website. Each time I come here, I'm making my duty to give the information is www.lacc.gov.lr. Go to the page, you will see the icon there, publication. Click on it, you will see our reports from 2020. In fact, we have report way back as 2008 up to now. All that we have been doing, if you want to know the status of cases, go there, you will see it, and you'll be following up on the activities of the LACC. And this is just to end our investigative efforts. It's not, these cases that are listed, I want to clarify, it's not the only cases we are investigating. I just said to name a few, but when you go to the report, you will see it. We have a lot of cases coming from the GAC audit report that we are currently investigating. So just go there and take a look at the report. And this will now bring me to our prosecution activities. The prosecution department, the last term of court in May, precisely on May 5th, the criminal court C handed down a guilty verdict in the case involving former official of the Planned Parenthood. This case it was done in twofold. The first group of officials were initially the court handed down a guilty verdict, and then the second individual was also adjudged guilty. Somebody will ask, what is the next step? Unfortunately, we have a problem with our judicial system. The LACC, the defendant has taken an appeal to the Supreme Court, which is a 60-day period to be able to perfect the appeal. And even when the appeal is completed, because the Supreme Court now has jurisdiction of the matter, we cannot proceed with enforcement. These are issues that we have. Imagine we go through the process of going through months of investigation, drawing our report, months of prosecution, and even when the court hands down, the lower court hands down a guilty verdict, we cannot proceed with enforcement because the law prohibits us until after the Supreme Court can hear into the matter. These are the reforms that we need to look at our law. Like for example, the commercial code I do know is that when there's a verdict against you, it does not stay execution. You either you're going to put whatever money that you are being held for into the escrow account. But these are reforms to our law that needs to be looked at. So also, prosecution activities. We currently have a case ongoing in Bong County. It's a case involving the Bong Hospital, similar to the one we did for the Marquette County Hospital, where our partners gave fundings for medical supplies, and those fundings were misused. We are currently, there's a case currently ongoing in Bong County with another group of individuals who took monies that were supposed to be used for the public and diverted it to their own selfish personal gain. The case is ongoing, and we will continue to provide the public with updates. I mentioned that we are currently working on getting indictments. Once we can get indictments in the LTA case, the LRRC case, the NOCA case, I forgot to mention Babodu County for the Yellow Machine case that we completed too. We are drawing up these indictments. We will go to the court. Our only constraint here is that, and I will continue to mention, that the only court we have right now, the LACC in Monrovia, is the criminal proceed. The court is really, really overwhelmed. In fact, this term of court, we were able to some extent, manage to put the latest case on the docket. But after some consideration for the court informed us that they could not continue with the jury trial into the latest case because they have two high-profile drug cases that are ongoing, and so they have to put it on the hold. We are hoping that come next term of court, which is August, the LACC will be giving preference so that we can begin prosecution of the latest case. This is the reason why we continue to call on for the establishment of our own specialized court. To this extent, I'm talking with stakeholders, I'm talking with donor partners. This is something that is very keen, and we are working on these. We're taking steps to be able currently there is a draft bill before the legislature. We are taking steps to be able to move that bill forward so that once enacted, we can be able to establish a specialized anti-corruption code. What that will mean to us is that instead of us going to all the other courts that are currently overwhelmed, when we do our investigation, we get our indictment, we just proceed to the specialized anti-corruption code, and they will try the cases immediately, and we will be able to recover. Because somebody will ask, why we not even recovering? Under our law, you cannot divest anybody of their property except through an outcome of a court proceeding. And so this is where we are when it comes to prosecution. We are currently working on, like I said, 4 indictments. Once we get to indictment, we'll have the individuals arrested, brought under the jurisdiction of the court, and then we will take the prosecution from there. Well, we haven't just been investigating and prosecuting. We have, like I said, we have a mandate to educate the public about the ills of corruption. And so to do that, we have tried to decentralize our activities. Over the period we've been to Maryland County, creating awareness about the corruption. We've been to River G County, where we had a town hall engagement with the citizens. We were able to even get people to local government officials to declare their assets. And so this is something that is going to be ongoing. We've been to Bombay County, Nima County, in our effort to decentralize our activities. As we speak, it will bring me to asset declaration updates. So as we are aware, on February 12, 2025, His Excellency, the President, gave a mandate for the suspension of public officials who have refused to declare their asset, which led to some public officials who fall in the non-compliant list to be suspended for a month, and their salaries were withheld. After the February 12th deadline, we still have public officials who have refused, who have refused. As I speak to you, we have over 100 public officials in Monrovia. So what we have done, we have divided them into categories. We understand that the local government officials who are in places like Sano, River G, to come to Monrovia to declare their asset is a challenge. But we have people who are right in Monrovia, who are sitting and they've refused to declare. And I just want to name a couple of institutions, like for example, NASCAR, LEC, the board of these institutions, NASCAR, LEC, Liberia Petroleum Regulatory Authority, JFK, MPA. They have people who are sitting on board collecting salaries, but have refused to come and declare their asset with the LACC. We also have, and in the legislature, we also have non-compliant lawmakers in the House of Representatives and the Senate and the judiciary. Come the end of this month, we are going again to publish the listing so that the public can see who these non-compliant. At this point, I don't even consider them non-compliant. I just think they don't care about the whole issue of asset declaration or transparency of being accountable to the public. And so we will continue to publish. For the LACC, we want 100% compliant, and this is what we are working towards. We issue our guideline for 2025. We named July 4th as the final date for asset declaration for 2025. And so we will also begin to update the public on our asset declaration activities. Looking ahead, our focus for this year, I told my people at the institution that we spent a lot of time on investigation last year. Last year we concluded 24 cases. And this year, this first quarter, we have done 5 cases. So we have 29 cases that we have concluded investigation on, and the 29 cases that we want to take for prosecution. And so this year, we are going to focus on prosecution. Even if we can't do all 29, no, we will not be able to do all 29. But this year, we want to make strides from now to the end of the month. From now to the end of the year to be able to do at least 2 high-profile corruption cases to close the year with, while we take steps to establish the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. We have been engaging our partners, including the UNDP, the World Bank, the Swedish Embassy. We want to say a big thank you to our partners, especially when it comes to the issue of training of our staff. We want to say thank you to our partner. We want to just let the public know that also during the period we received some donations from USAID, including a vehicle, which has been very helpful. We are using it. We put it in our pool to be able to help us with our work. So, in the closing, my closing remark, and afterward, which I will take questions, I want to use this opportunity, especially to you, the media. I think it was the same point the IG raised. The way we speak about our country and the way we put out information will determine how the public will perceive us, how our international partners will perceive us. The fight against corruption is a long and difficult one, but at the end of the day, we may not be able to hold everybody accountable, but we know that at the end of the day, we will make an example of individuals so that it serves as deterrence. I want to call on the public to remain steadfast, join us in our mandate. We want to say thank you for all the support you have been giving us. To not just report the negative things, the LCC we have been doing in as much as we have not been able to prosecute, or we have been doing a lot of investigation, arrests. Continue to showcase those activities. Thank you, and I look forward to the questions.
Yeah. So we take it two at a time, so the people will speak, and then we take questions from you. Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Good afternoon, leaders of government. Let me quickly bring you greetings from our Managing Director, Honorable Sidney MVP. I also want to bring you greetings from our Chairman and members of the Board of Directors of the National Port Authority. I have with me today our Harbor Master and also the PFSO of the port, the National Port Authority. Why are we here? We're proud to announce that the NPA is hosting the 10th annual conference of Harbor Masters and PFSOs of the Port Management Association of West and Central Africa, PMACA for short. Now, what is Liberia's relationship with PMACA? Liberia is a founding member of PMACA. Liberia was there when PMACA was established in 1972. And through Liberia's relationship with PMACA, the National Port Authority has gained access to a lot. Knowledge sharing, compliance framework, and regional platforms of port existence. Our port is no longer an isolated node. There are integrated links in a stronger, smarter, and secure regional trade network. So the Harbor Masters and PFSO conference, what is this conference? What does it entail? It brings together Harbor Masters and PFSOs from across 20 ports, 22 ports, within 20 countries around West and Central Africa. So it's a big event. This is an event where our Harbor Masters and, I didn't expand on the meaning of PFSO. So PFSO is the Port Facility Security Officer. They are responsible to coordinate security and compliance security, ISPS regulations, and local port regulations as it relates to port policing and everything. So this conference brings together members of the PFSO's community and Harbor Master community to discuss ways in which they can enhance port security and safety within the network. What does Liberia benefit, or what have Liberia benefited? Through this relationship, Liberia has participated in several organized conferences and training by PMACA, capacity building, and human resource development, one of which, the most recent one, was our inclusion in including gender inclusive training, in Abidjan. And now we are leading the discussions around Liberia. We're proud to say that our women that attended this conference are back home and they're leading discussions. As we gather here, I'd just like to reiterate that this year's theme is celebration is under the theme Navigating the Challenges of Port Security and Safety. So we all recognize that it is very essential to have our ports, our gateways safe, And it is against this backdrop that members of the Harbor Master Network and Port Facility Security Officers Network of PMARCA come together every year to discuss ways and manners in which they can enhance port security and safety. So this conference empowers us to confront the race and to also come up with actionable solutions through collaborations and harmonized protocols, especially with regional solidarity. So it's just not a technical forum, but it's also shoes to safeguard for our economy and people, especially within our waterways, shared waterways to be particular. So Liberia is proud to be associated with PMARCA. As you know, the president, upon his inception, has launched the arrest agenda. So we, at the level of the National Port Authority, we've ensured that our actions are aligned with it. So what we've done to align this conference is to make sure that all of the different strategy sections and discussions will center around several key pillars of the arrest agenda. Just to touch a few, the rule of law and governance, how do we contribute to that is through responsible security, transparent maritime administration, and adherence to international standards. And also under that is infrastructure development. We're looking to improve port facilities, improve safety protocols, and operational systems. Human capital also, we are interested in developing human resource capacity. Sanitation and health, we're particularly concerned with environmental stewardship, waste management, and emergency preparedness in the maritime sector. Trade and tourism, we're interested in increasing efficiency, reliability, and competitiveness at the Liberia's gateway and our own gateway to the rest of the world. So we at the NPA would like to say, in as much as this is a regional vision, it remains a national imperative agenda for us. So at this juncture, without further ado, I'd like to start here and we will entertain questions.
Thank you. Pamela? Question. One question to the speaker.
Please have the attention, please. May I have your attention, please? The LACC was very emphatic. Our presentation was very clear on the point. That's where your question to come from, nothing beyond that. Thank you. The National Port Authority was very emphatic, very clear. Please direct your question to the presentation, not discussion. This is interesting.
My name is Louis Onasekwaya. I'm the post for Liberia Public Radio. My question was to the chairperson for the LACC. Madam Chair, I want to know most Liberians are equal in terms of the investigation which is now at the prosecution stage. How long your prosecution last week? Because we can investigation stage. It came from the last year, especially the issue of the NAFA and the car. So I want to know how long that prosecution will take. Well, thank you. My name is Will Manfred Osi, and correspondent for the Poor Media Network. I write for the Time Liberia online newspaper. The question goes to the LACC boss. You here to inform the Liberian people. In your statement, you talk about those who have not declared their assets. Have you informed the president? Have you given the names to the president so that he can take action against those who have not declared their assets?
Thank you.
Thank you. Whether she has informed the president.
My name is Samson, telling me that I work for Liberia. So, Madam Chair, last year, October, there was a group of District 2, Papua County complained. I was a case for lead of Hong County involving a lead barrel on the speaker she was moved. You can provide update on that. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Steven Ramos and I work for the Liberia Agency. My question is directly to the LACC boss. I'm concerned, in view of your
In many of your investigations or your audit conducted, many of those who are involved, in many occasions, maybe due to the delay of the report coming off from said investigations, they are seen on social media or radio stations, public media, challenging the report, especially when it's being delayed. We saw in the case of NAFA, we also saw in the case of local. I mean, how can you compromise this? What could be leading to some of these issues, especially where you have conducted an audit and coming up with a report may lead to some delay? Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Korea Alfred. I have two questions, one for the LACC boss and one for the manager. So, you talk about some 4 indictments that are going to come out with, but you did not name those indictments. Quite recently, President Moika suspended the chairperson of the LTA. And also, they all have profile cases that put in the former government, including former Minister Toy. Can you tell us the cases and what are the 4 indictments you are talking about? The next question will be the court manager. You talk about conference, deputy court manager. You talk about conference to enhance post security. And look at Liberian, the Liberians in the port authority and you've been around for being wide. And what is the major challenge, security challenge to you have now? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Opolo and I run a multimedia hub. So my question goes to the LACC. There were about 9 persons accused in Miami County for the issue of corruption. And those people accused still moving freely. For example, you got Mr. Leroy Daxier. Of course, he's a former the Rennie Hospital. He was a former administrator, and the last person is Bakule Koli, and he happened to be the Master Business Center CEO and other people. So the question is, what exactly the start of these people who still in the country moving? Thank you.
And so my name is James Mbala, and I'm port of the Torah My questions go to the And so madam, besides the issues of our publications of people who have perpetually refused to declare their access on the law that established the LACC, we have extra power or extra laws that can engage people so that they're able to, that can compare them to declare their access beside publications. And the next one goes to the post director. And you operate 4 different posts in Liberia. The issue that has to do with the functionaries of these posts is complicated. It's said that the NPAs is taking individuals back to give these people an independent status so that the 4th post in Liberia will already specifically on their own and then become secure government.
Thank you. So I'm going to respond to the questions. The first question is from Louis. We asked how long Louis asked how long the prosecution will last for. Prosecution lies squarely with the court. As I mentioned, where we are right now is getting the indictment. That is something that I can put a time frame to. Hopefully by the end of July, we'll be able to get the indictment. But for the prosecution, it entails putting the case on the docket, impaneling the jury, and then the courts going through the trial process. This is something that I do not have control over, so I will not be able to set a definite time. You also indicated that NAFA and local cases started last year. I would like to clarify they did not start last year, they started this year. Specifically, I think local started in February and NAFA came after. I want I want you to understand. You see, the thing about investigation is now we're not on a marathon. We're not trying to prove anything. Because when it comes to investigating acts of corruption, it borders around people's character, it borders around people's reputation, their livelihood, and so the LACC, what we do is to meticulously go through the investigation. I know sometimes it can be frustrating for the public, especially where we are even prohibited under our act not to disclose activities from the investigation as we go through the investigation, because it has a propensity to undermine the investigation. So for example, I'm investigating John Doe, and every time I go to the press, I say, yeah, as we speak, John Doe has named Peter Paul as an accomplice. What will happen is that Peter Paul will either run away and then it compromises the investigation. But all I want to say is that we're not intentionally delaying investigation. We have a team now, we have a small team of investigation that has to do with all the corruption cases within the Republic of Liberia. We are doing our best. You see the aspect that power, when we pour people in, you see people coming in and sitting down and giving their statements. When we finish, we have to collect those documents and then write a report. The aspect of writing a report, it has a lot to do because the report has to corroborate with your evidence adduced during investigation. Anything outside that, you go to court, the government will lose, and it's not a good thing for government to be taking corruption cases to court and be losing. That's why you see we take our time to go through the process of investigation so that when we come up with an investigative report and we proceed to court, we are sure that this is something that we are going to get judgment in. So to answer your question, I do not have control over the prosecution. What I can tell you is that we will take steps to engage the court. I mentioned that there's only one court in Monrovia that we are dealing with when it comes to prosecution of cases of corruption. And then I go to the next question about have I informed the president about asset declaration. I said in February of this year, the president took steps to suspend people. That was based on recommendation. We informed the president. This second batch is something that we do quarterly report. The quarter is about to end. We're going to submit the report. I'm here to provide the public to give them update on where we are when it comes to asset declaration. We will submit the report and we will make recommendation, and we are very, very sure that the president will come out again and support the LACC by taking action against the individuals involved. You are already aware in the LTA case, the president took action against the care based on our ongoing investigation or our concluded investigation. So yes, indeed, we are going to inform the president in the quarter ends this month. The case involving the representative, the allegation of bribery for the removal of the former speaker, it is currently ongoing, and I would like to say to the public here that we have engaged the House of Representatives. We have the representatives that are involved. They have been coming, they started coming since the 5th of June. They are coming and they are giving their statement. We will conclude on our case and be able to provide information to the public regarding that case. But to answer your question, the case was only stalled due to the issues that were ongoing at the House of Representatives. We have resumed the case and the representatives in questions are coming. Somebody talk about NAFA and local case. These are things trends that have been following. People who are accused of corruption have different tactics to be able to either influence the public or to say or do things to gain sympathy for the public. That is, we are not distracted by that. We are focused on the investigation. We when it comes to people calling on us, why we're not calling on them, is because we have timelines. When people come for investigation, they call other people's name. We have to reach out to those people and tell them, come. They'll call your name in the case, so you gotta come and respond. All those things take time. what I can tell the public is to rest assured, we have already concluded local, and I said we are working on drawing up the indictment. Similarly, we will conclude NAFA and we'll bring the public to speak about NAFA. That's my answer. Somebody asked me, did I name the cases for which I said indictment? I named the cases. I said and I will repeat, I said the Liberia Telecommunication Authority. I said former official of the WASH Commission. I said suspended official of the LRRC. I said current official of the Road Fund Authority. I said suspended official of the National Oil Company. And I also went on to say Bapolu County Yellow Machine case. These are the cases that are currently drawing up indictment in. Then finally, a question was asked regarding the FIA case. Yes, this is a case that we started. We are collaborating with the Justice Ministry. As we all know, the former officials were brought in. They were placed under the jurisdiction of the court. They filed a petition for a writ of prohibition. The case is currently at the Supreme Court. We are waiting for the Supreme Court to rule into that matter, and then they will send the case back to Criminal Code C, where we will resume prosecution. Thank you. Kakata case. If you have been following, I'm sure you're talking about the Madrid County Health Team case, right? If you have been following, this is something I was even here, I think a few months ago, and we have also informed the public that we lost that case. That case was tried in Bangla County. The individuals you named were also defendants. We went, this is a case that LACC conducted investigation for over a year. We all are aware that that recording, that case came out as a result of a recording where people were sitting down and talking about how to distribute kickbacks. We went into investigation, we went to trial, and the jurors in Madrid County brought down a unanimous not guilty verdict on all counts against those individuals. This is the thing we're talking about when we say a count of corruption. It's not just the LACC. It is all of us that is our duty to ensure. Because when people see from we the common citizen, where do we get our chance to be able to hold them accountable is when we go to court. But the jurors, in their own wisdom, decided that all of those people were innocent. Today, let me just let you know that government, honor our law, does not appeal. So we haven't taken an appeal. But I just mentioned that we have, and this is the reason why we started the bombing hospital case, because those same individuals, they are also there too. So we're going after them again. And this time around, we are sure we have done our homework. We are sure that this time will be favorable for the Liberian people. Thank you.
Thank you. Somebody asked about the challenges with regards to security at the port. Well, I'll just break it down into two simple ones. The first one is training. Next one is logistics. Training, we need to train our people. We need to improve the training. We need to have them understand the discipline and understand the different ethics and responsibilities that comes with the environment and the positions they hold. Logistics, we're operating in a fast-paced environment where technology has taken over, the world is advancing, and at the level of the NPA, we're still struggling to catch up. We're playing catch up. We need logistics in terms of waterfront patrol. We need boats. We need first aid training for our people. We need equipment. A lot of boats now are using drone technology to monitor the waterfront and anchorage and other areas that boats used to go. But we're still here struggling with getting boats to patrol and all of that. So training is essential. We need logistics to enhance our port operations, because those are the two key factors that impact security operations. Second question was in relations to independence. Somebody asked whether the MPA was going to allow the full force to be independent. Was that the question, sir?
Yes.
Yes, so by way of information, those posts are independent. So the MPA want to provide oversight for all four of these posts. I think where the confusion comes in, people often take the Freeport of Monrovia often take the MPA to be the Freeport of Monrovia. So the confusion is that, just in the interest of clarity, the Freeport of Monrovia houses the National Port Authority. But the Freeport of Monrovia is an independent port that has a port director like the three outposts. So they are all independent ports. Our position and responsibility is only to provide oversight responsibilities for those ports. So they all report to the Port Authority. I hope that answers your question. Thank you. So just before I have proceed, I'll just allow my harbor master to say a few words in the PFSO because this event is all about them. If you will allow me 2 minutes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your 2 minutes. Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Captain Lynch. I'm the harbor master at the National Port Authority. Please allow me to piggyback and buttress off the sentiments of my DMDA, Deputy Managing Director of Administration. He said most of what only the first time that Liberia is hosting, but we stand to benefit a lot. In these conferences, we get an opportunity to look at a standardized approach to managing risk, threats, and vulnerabilities concerning marine operations. They say you don't have to wait until something happens to you before you learn. So some of these experiences are things that our counterparts have gone through before. So our engagement and dialogue with them will be learning experiences, so we can pick up how they were able to, as they have similar challenges like we do, how they were able to get
cooperation with the Ghanaian police, he was arrested and subsequently turned over. Mr. Yanti was brought back into the country on the 6th, the intervention of a family member who made a request that he was willing to cooperate and become a witness. However, we know that in criminal investigation, cooperating suspects are always dangerous. When he was brought in based on the request of the family member who assisted in this process, we were going to give him a chance to speak with him and to test the legitimacy of his willingness to assist in the investigation. In the process, it was proven that indeed he could not be trusted. He was already charged even before, and he was charged in absentia, so even before being arrested as such, he was brought over at central headquarters and subsequently turned over to the court. At no point in time did we ever intend to make a deal with him or to even promise him what he's claiming. The claims that you're hearing and counter claims, I don't even know which one to believe. 50,000, 200,000, 2,000, whichever one it is. Though I can tell you they made requests that we could not honor. And at no point in time did we enter any agreement with Mr. Yanti to lie or to force him or coerce him in any way, shape, or form to speak falsely against any of the defendants. The LMP will remain resolute. This matter is, like I said, is before the court. We are still looking at for other suspects. Now that we have a full indictment, the diffusion, the Interpol diffusion that we have for the suspects that are alleged, I've instructed the Deputy Inspector General for Crime Services, Intelligence, and Interpol to upgrade that diffusion notice in the Interpol system to a red notice. So over the next few days, that notice will be published. As soon as we get a feedback from NCB Monrovia receives the feedback from Interpol, it will be published out there and will be shared with our counterparts around the world to have those criminal suspects repatriated to Liberia for prosecution. Mr. Yanti returned and followed lawful procedures. He was accorded due privileges.
All right, guys. Man, Ruth, Goba, Wilson, Johnson, Thomas Kuhlman, Tommy Jr. Thank you guys for hanging in there. You know, we've been having some technical problems tonight. We've been struggling to bring on our people so we can have our conversation, but due to some technical problem, as I said earlier, we are so sorry to announce that we can't have a show tonight. There are a lot of issues going on from systemic to other minor problems, but hopefully our technicians are working on it, and we hope to resolve it first thing in the morning, because it's late on our side. It's also late over there. So yeah, thank you guys so much, man, for hanging on, for following religiously. As my friend Thomas Kuhlman said, we are following religiously, systematically and categorically. Thank you guys, man. Thank you. We hope to come on tomorrow, early tomorrow. The issue will be resolved before 12 May Day tomorrow, and then we will have a full blast, and kickstarting the weekend with a huge blast. Liberia is impregnated with contradictions, so we will always be here to sharpen them, irregular, necessary checkpoint, get our own expert opinion, and in the end, Liberia wins. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you guys for hanging in there.